Joining us tonight is Congressman Matt Gaetz, member of the House Judiciary Committee, member of the Armed Services Committees, and member of the Freedom Caucus. Congressman, good to have you with us.
Good to be with you.
It's an extraordinary moment to see what Adam Schiff is doing and getting away with. But I've got to compliment you, and I've got to compliment the Republicans in your conference. You stood together in your effort to censure Adam Schiff for his scurrilous conduct, and that is a great, healthy sign for the Republican Party. And so I just want to begin by congratulating you on that. And it is good to see cohesion and support of this president on the part of the Republican conference in the House of Representatives.
Right now, Lou, we are going through an unprecedented process when you look at how secretive, how unfair, and how underlyingly corrupt it truly is, with Adam Schiff making up evidence, leaking evidence, and then not allowing the evidence being developed to even have scrutiny or review by Republicans. The only reason why Adam Schiff isn't behaving this way is because the evidence isn't any good and it doesn't justify any impeachment. But just take the Taylor testimony from today. Democrats did all they could to highlight, oh, Taylor said there were these dual tracks of foreign policy. What they forget to tell you is that when Taylor texted that to Ambassador Sondland expressly refuted that contention in real time. He said, no, this is not a quid pro quo. The president has been very clear that there is not this linkage of aid to any future election activity. And the most important factual development, actually, I understand, came from questions from Congressman Ratcliffe. He asked, well, is there any Ukrainian who we can point to at any moment in time who knew that this aid was even on a hold in any way? And the answer, of course, is no. And so if the Democrats are not able to establish that Ukraine was even aware that military aid was being temporarily withheld, they will, of course, be unable to prove some extortion that they're claiming the president engaged in.
Extortion, claiming threats to CIA officers who happen to have extensive experience, apparently, in both the White House and Adam Schiff and Capitol Hill.
And the political sphere. Don't forget, Lou, that there are allegations, there is reporting that the very people who are cloaking themselves in the anonymity of whistleblower status had political objectives, were engaged with presidential campaigns. And I think that's a fact that we would know with greater certainty if we were having open public hearings.
Yeah, if you were having open public hearings, I think this would be over pretty quickly, because it would be really important to keep referring to the transcript of the phone call between Zelensky and President Trump, because an independently objective, real evidence in front of you can only result in one conclusion, and that is that there was no quid pro quo. To continue to bring this ancillary, most of it third-party testimony from people that were supposedly actors in this pathetic excuse for a drama, know really very little and make only these rather vaporous allegations based on what is nothing more than hearsay.
Well, and if we were having open public hearings, we would, of course, be wanting to ask these witnesses, what their thoughts would be if an American president leaned over thinking they weren't being recorded and said, well, just wait until after the election, tell Vladimir I'll have more flexibility. That is, of course, what President Obama did. So when you look at President Trump delivering on military aid that President Obama didn't deliver on, when you see President Trump trying to root out corruption from a prior election, whereas President Obama was speaking to his utility after a future election, it is very clear that President Trump didn't do anything to justify impeachment. But this is largely a reaction to the humiliation Democrats experienced after the failed Russia hoax. They had egg on their face. Remember there was that crazy week, Lou, where they were talking about going back and impeaching Judge Kavanaugh, for goodness sakes? I mean, these are people who just have impeachment fever, and they're trying to pin the tail on their favorite impeachment theory of the week.
Well, they're also doing something else in the case of Schiff and Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House. You would think that two people so sincerely and earnestly concerned about the constitutional crisis they say this so-called impeachment inquiry, which is an utter fraud, constitutes, you would think they wouldn't flee to Jordan and Afghanistan in the midst of it, instead would be working overtime weekends to proceed with the nation's business. Instead, they go aloft and afar to escape further questioning about what is a pure Star Chamber proceeding, a kangaroo court. Congressman, always good to have you with us. Congressman Matt
Thank you, Lou.
Gaetz, thanks so much.